Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Mi, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. In today's video, we're going to talk about some decisions that were made by the Straw Hat crew with regards to Whole Cake Island. Now, Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro have always been the strongest members among the Straw Hat pirates, and even are called the Monster Trio because of their superhuman strength. Even when their enemies are much stronger, they never back down, showing just how determined they are to achieve their dreams. This trio together is a united front, but when it's just Sanji and Zoro, the two always start to argue and fight amongst themselves. But we all know that they really are actually great friends, and they would face any enemy to save each other's lives. However, during the Whole Cake Island arc, Zoro decided to go to Wano, while leaving Luffy, Nami, Brook, and Chopper to go save Sanji. So why didn't Zoro go and save Sanji, knowing he might have been in great danger? In today's video, we're going to talk about the reasons why Zoro didn't go to save Sanji, and what led him to abandon his rival in the home of a Yonko. If you're new to the channel, we really appreciate your help by leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. It really means a lot and motivates us to make new videos. But for now, let's get into the video. So to begin our video, Zoro and Sanji have a somewhat interesting friendship, and since the two met, they have been on opposite sides of ideals and tastes, so a great rivalry and competitiveness has arisen between them. Zoro was always seen competing with Sanji and getting into fights with him for silly reasons, and worse still, these usually happen in inopportune moments. In fact, these moments of squabbling go all the way back to Arlon Park, where back then they disagreed on how to deal with Nami's supposed betrayal, but their problematic relationship officially began in Little Garden. You see, Sanji asked Zoro to go hunting since they were running short of food, and Zoro replies that he would since Sanji was unable to do so, and this comment sparked off their rivalry. Zoro adds on to this rivalry when criticizing Sanji's food, since Zoro rarely acknowledges the quality of the food and usually just says it's okay. Although they'll never admit it, they have a bond of friendship and deeply care about each other. But during the Whole Cake Island arc, in which Sanji is captured by the Big Mom pirates, Zoro decides to go to Wano with Robin, Usopp, Frankie, and the Heart Pirates, in which they can make an alliance, and Zoro does it because of his power. Now, this choice leaves us a little puzzled, since Zoro is one of the strongest members among the Straw Hats, yet he chose to let Luffy and the others save Sanji while he went to Wano. Now, some might say this is because of their rivalry, but they are great friends, and Zoro knows how important Sanji is to the crew. Besides, Zoro had other reasons to save Sanji, but he decided to go ahead with the initial plan anyway. After all, the ultimate goal was to defeat Kaido, and that was of extreme importance, because with his defeat, the Straw Hats would be able to find the road poneglyph in Kaido's possession, and thus be even closer to discovering where the One Piece treasure is finally hidden. So it was necessary to divide the Straw Hats to complete the different objectives, but it was also necessary to split up because if the three strongest members of the Straw Hats all went to Whole Cake, the rest of the crew could end up in serious trouble in Wano. So Zoro went to Wano with the rest of the group to keep them safe, while Luffy and the other members went to save Sanji, because Zoro knew that Luffy could get Sanji back. After all, he is their captain, and for this reason, Zoro left and trusted Luffy. If we also consider the plan regarding Whole Cake Island, the Straw Hats' goal was not to actually confront Big Mom, at least not at that point in time. Their objective was to confront and take down Kaido. Changing the plan in the middle of the journey would not be ideal and could have spelled disaster for not only the Straw Hats, but the Heart Pirates and everybody else in the alliance. So Zoro accepted his captain's decision, but surely Zoro probably wished he'd gone to save his friend and rival, because they are in the end truly close, even if they fight over silly things. For throughout the story, we've seen several times that although they try to disguise it, the two actually get along much better than the other Straw Hats. Going back to the Arlong arc, Zoro was seen complaining when Sanji defeated Kurobi, but then smiled when Sanji returned from the fight against Jabra. Now this shows that he was happy Sanji won the fight and came back safe. But we also never really see them call each other by their names. Whether it's Dartboard Brow or Mosshead, they each have nicknames for the other when they want to get a rise out of the other. But despite this, we also know that Zoro trusts Sanji to protect the weaker members of this crew, because even though Sanji is a cook, he fights very well, being able to face incredibly strong enemies with not only ease, but with just his feet. And Sanji is one of the bravest men Zoro has ever met, and he knows that Sanji would risk even his life to save his friends. Another example of this is when Usopp and Frankie were worried about Sunny's group when they arrived at Zoe. Now Zoro tells them not to worry because Sanji was with them, showing that Zoro had a lot of confidence in Sanji's leadership and strength. Despite the rivalry of the two, we can see that they work well as a team, and although he said he didn't care what happened to Sanji during the events of Whole Cake arc, we know that this isn't true. It just shows that Zoro trusted that they would be able to save him. After all, Luffy found Zoro listening to what Peckham's was saying about what really happened to Sanji outside the door, showing that he still cares about his friend's safety. But he could not go to save him because, as I said before, there were more important goals. Now when Luffy asked Zoro if he was worried about Sanji, Zoro got angry, trying to show that he really wasn't worried about Sanji. But everyone knows that Zoro worries about all the Straw Hats. Pirates. And even though Zoro would never admit it, besides Luffy, Sanji really is his other best friend. The two have been through so much together, fighting against various pirates and members of the Navy, fights in which they both could have lost their lives. But even after all that, they are still fighting to achieve their dreams together. But again, we've also seen them argue about who would defeat the strongest opponent. One moment that truly shows Zoro's character is the nothing happened moment in Thriller Bark. When Kuma shows up to capture the Straw Hats after Luffy's intense fight against Moria, Zoro accepts a proposition where if he is able to endure all the pain of his captain, Kuma would allow the Straw Hats to escape safely. Now when Zoro accepts Kuma's proposal, Sanji is completely irritated by Zoro's attitude, so he stands in front of him so that he can bear his captain's pain in Zoro's place. Sanji did this while saying that he would be the one who would give his life for Luffy because he wanted Zoro and Luffy to survive, all the while saying that he would do it because he called himself stronger. But Zoro does not accept this and hits Sanji in the back with his sword, causing him to faint and not interfere. When Sanji wakes up and remembers what Zoro did, he hurries to talk to him, and when he sees Zoro covered in blood, Sanji gets scared. Asking what Zoro had done, Zoro utters the line, "Nothing happened." The swordsman just remains stoic with his arms crossed. Now an example for Sanji occurs during the Wano arc. See, after awakening the power of his modified genetics, Sanji becomes afraid of becoming transformed, and was even more afraid of becoming an emotionless person like his brothers and sister. So Sanji reaches out to Zoro, and although he doesn't reveal exactly what was happening to him, he tells Zoro that after his battle is over, if he turns out to be a different person than he was, Sanji asks Zoro to take his life. In a moment that shows his deeper understanding, Zoro simply accepts while saying that Sanji better not lose his life, encouraging his friend not to give up fighting just because they still had a lot to do, because he didn't want Sanji to be worried about him. Now there have even been moments where one praises the other to other people, just not each other, sharing their own weaknesses and that they trust the action the other takes. And one of these moments is when Sanji starts praising Zoro. Sanji says that it's really hard to believe that Zoro had a charitable side, but he is a person who always does what needs to be done one way or another, that they could leave things up to Zoro and trust him because he knew that Zoro would always succeed in accomplishing his goals. So despite their fighting, we can see that they really do care about each other, but they just avoid showing it because they don't want to get teased by their crewmates. So they keep their rivalry to disguise the great friendship they have. So flashing forward to our current Wano arc, there is a possibility that if Zoro was presented with the opportunity, he actually might not be able to take Sanji's life, or at least really wouldn't want it to, because if Sanji really did lose his emotions, we know that he trusts Zoro too much to ask him to do that. But Zoro might not accept this because even though he can be serious and a little cold sometimes, he wouldn't have the courage to take the life of a person who he spent so much time with. In difficult times and happy times, he may even try, but in the end, he possibly might not be able to do something like this to a crewmate. So to wrap things up, Zoro did not go to save Sanji because he knew that his captain Luffy would be able to save Sanji and also convince him to come back. And besides that, he knew that Sanji was very strong and would be able to protect himself. Moreover, he needed to stay with the other crew members to protect them. After all, he knew that if the three most powerful crew members were in the same group, there wouldn't be protection for the other members of the Straw Hat Pirates. But for now, I want to know what you think about it. Why do you think the reason was that Zoro didn't go to save Sanji? Do you think that their rivalry is real or just a bluff to cover up their friendship? Let us know in the comments below. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video until the very end. Make sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you've made it this far, give us a like as you head out to take on the rest of your day. Hope to see you all in our next video, and let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.